Bicep! What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another session of Coffee and Martial Arts. Salud, salud, salud. Cheers. Oh, yes, yes. Mm-hmm. Very good coffee this morning, sir. Yes, yes. And an amazing guest we have, as usual. I mean, all of our guests here are the best of the best. You know why? Because they agreed to come on the show. That's it. Because they are committed martial artists that want to share, and that makes them the best of the best. Aha. You like my category? Ha! Okay, guys. So, but you know me. Before we go to our guests, I need to say the proper announcements, okay? Just give me one moment here. Okay, so I want to remind you that we are going live through our Facebook page, Master Frank Soto Kinetic Dragon. So please like the page, follow us, subscribe there, give us a like there. That really helps. And if you can and you want to share some of those stars, that really supports the show, okay? Gives movement to the show and allows the algorithm to show to more people, okay? You got that option down there if you want, okay? If not, still like it. And if you don't like the show, share it to your enemies, okay? I will bug the hell out of them, I promise you. But if you like it, share it to your friends, okay? Okay, we're also going live through our YouTube channel, the Kinetic Dragon channel. Also, please like and subscribe and click on the little bell so you get notified every time we go live or we upload a new video, okay? Remember, this show is for you guys, so please leave a comment or ask your questions. All the comments or the questions that you share that I see here, I always put them on, always, okay? So you are here to share and to listen, and we are here to listen to you, okay? That's the whole idea. We're also going live through our Facebook page, the Internacional with a C in Espanol, International Hall of Fame page of Argentina. Okay, this is a nice group of martial artists led by Master Juan Martin Alvarez from Buenos Aires. Okay, they're doing an amazing job. They have a magazine that goes on paper every month and also digital, of course. So if you can subscribe to that page, they have a very nice group of martial artists and a lot of people there doing their thing. Okay. Also, please like and share this video, like I said, and don't forget to leave or comments or ask questions, okay? Good. So today we have an amazing, amazing guest, okay? A very talented martial artist, okay, with a lot of years in the martial arts. Okay, I'll leave that to him, but he's been in the arts for many, many years, several decades. And he's a committed and a very passionate martial artist, a 10th degree black belt under Grandmaster Larry Tatum, Kenpo, also a Shaolin Kung Fu practitioner, expert, and a Ninjitsu black belt, okay? So the man has a lot of experience and also has taught special forces, so he has an amazing approach, an amazing angle to Kenpo and the martial arts that he's going to share with us today, okay? But let me... I'm going to shut up now. I'm not going to spoil the interview, and I'm going to bring our great guest, which is Maestro, Senior Master James Adkins. Okay, let's bring him in. Hello, sir.
How's it going, guys? No coffee. I'll drink my water here, but salute to you.
That's good. I also have water. So
yeah, good. Yeah. I'm not like Larry. I didn't make my Starbucks run or nothing like that today. So.
Yeah, I remember when we were at the Pasadena school back in the 90s with Mr. Tatum. I used to go around the block to get coffee from Starbucks.
Green Street, yeah.
On Colorado Boulevard. So, yes. Good. Well, sir, I want to say thank you for being on the show, for accepting the invitation. It's an honor and a pleasure to have you here, sir. And before we go to our questions, let me just bring a couple of comments that we have here, people saying hello. Rick Boy says, hi, Frank, salute. My friend, thank you, sir, salute. Álvaro Andrés de Amico Nahum, saludos, Master Frank from Patagonia, Chile. Nice, thank you, sir. Okay, so every time I have a new guest, I ask the same beginning question. Could you share with us a little bit of your background, your martial arts history? Okay, before Rick says, hi, Sifu Adkins.
Mr. Boyce is one of my students up here. He's probably the most enthusiastic Kenpo guy that I've met in a long time.
Nice. Cool. Thank you for being here, sir, for watching. Could you share a little bit of your background, how you started into the martial arts, and briefly, because we only have 1 hour, so how you got to the point where you're at right now, please.
Yeah, so probably just like anybody our age, Bruce Lee got me involved in the martial arts just by being on screen. I wanted to be Bruce Lee. I remember the day I broke 5'8". I was so disappointed. I was going to be taller than Bruce. But back then in the late 70s and early 80s, there wasn't a whole lot of martial artists around, which was a good thing. And I came across a flyer posted to a telephone pole, showed a couple of, and think about how you had made flyers back then, you had drawn out by hand. So I went to a Tuesday class. I met my first instructor. I stuck with that, and it was Kenpo. I lucked out. Kenpo George Mawson, Sifu George Mawson under Lonnie Coots, who was Steve Labounty's student. And I studied the Chinese Kenpo system, the National Chinese Kenpo system, NCKKA stuff. And it hooked me. When I got high enough in that, I went out and I studied just like yourself, sir. When we say studied, kind of approached and explored Aikido, Jiu-Jitsu, Shirin-Jiru, Wado-Kai, anything I could get my hands on in the area. Ran into Ninjitsu back before the Ninja Turtles were cool, and found a couple of people there and dove right into Ninja. It had more weaponry than I had experienced in the Kenpo system, so it kind of added a dimension to what I was looking for. And then, I competed in tournaments all through the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and Kenpo sparring was no problem, right? We got there Region 4 in California, Mexico, and Utah, and sparring was no problem, but the Kung Fu guys were kicking my butt in kata. They were flying all over the place and they were looking fancy. Sifu Kitty Perez, Jerry Cook, Joseph Eager, all those guys out of Arizona from the Beijing Wushu team. It was like, I got to do that. So I'd go hang out at the park with those guys and learn as much Kung Fu as I could. I found really quick that I was a Kenpo guy. Kenpo explained it. It broke it down. It was just perfect. And as far as self-defense goes, and when I say things good about Kenpo, understand I'm not knocking any other art at all. This is just how it fit me. And for me, I wanted the self-defense. I was bullied when I was a kid. My dad died when I was 9. I wanted it, and Kenpo had it. So I ended up back in Kenpo camp, did my tour for a while, got to a high rank, and it was about 6th degree when my instructor said, you know more than I do. You need to find somebody else.
Wow.
And so I sought out Grandmaster Larry Tatum in the 90s.
That's very honest, though.
Yeah, and he
very nice.
He accepted me as a student, which was incredible. I've been 20 some odd years now with Larry.
Wow.
The encyclopedia of motion. So
I agree.
And I did get to go to Shaolin Temple. My Shaolin brother Mark Stiver. I don't know if you met Mr. Stiver yet.
No, I don't think so.
You'll meet him eventually.
I know the name. Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Stiver's a great guy. He's been my brother since we were in kindergarten. He actually became a Shaolin disciple. Not a disciple. He is a Shaolin priest, one of the first American-born Shaolin priests. So he takes me to Shaolin Temple to train. I get to go up there and work with the monks. Got my Buddhist name and all that kind of stuff. It's been a blessed life. There it is. Yeah, that's the day I tested in front of the abbot there. They caught me with my eyes closed. But it was a good picture. Good day for sure.
Wow. How was your experience there?
What's that?
How was your experience in the Shaolin Temple?
Well, I'll be as truthful as I can without being disappointing. I had high expectations of the Shaolin Temple. Sure. Being a big fan of the series Kung Fu, I wanted to see the secret room where the burn my forearms and things like that. But it had become it was more modern. There was a Starbucks there. Sure. In the temple. So anyway, the monks were great. The training was incredible. We were sleeping in an 800-year-old building, and Mr. Stiver pointed out, he said, in America, this building would be a historic landmark. Here, it's just an 800-year-old building. So now I got to see the trees where the finger holes were, the fingers in, and stand in the rooms where they'd stomped and done their katas and impressions in the concrete or the brick floor. It was pretty powerful. Nice. Yeah. We don't realize how much
things have changed, of course. Yeah, but it makes sense though, right?
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. I mean, the abbot himself actually says, if we don't change, we die. If we don't grow, we die. So still keeping true to tradition as much as they could, they're evolving just like anything else.
Sure.
Sounds like Kenpo, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And so you started Kenpo back where, 70s?
In the late 70s, yeah. 11 years
Late
old.
70s.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is it that you would say it's what made you stay with Kenpo? What hooked you and made you stay there?
Oh, that's a good question. I know what brought me back. It was my first love. Sifu had a way of teaching it. He was very honest, very direct. I didn't have any really other experience in the martial arts. So coming out of the gate and being lucky enough to have an instructor like that, looking back, of course, probably that's what kept me. I was really after self-defense. Like I said, I wasn't really into the art at the time. I was young. I really wasn't into, the science as much as I thought I was, because I couldn't comprehend all of the scientific stuff that Kenpo was giving at the time. But I knew when I had to protect myself, Kenpo worked.
Of course.
And it was straightforward, and I didn't have to jump, flip, and fly around if I didn't want to. So when I went back to it, I looked at Kung Fu as the art, the expressive motion of what was going on. Kenpo's definitely the scientific idea of what is possible in a martial art. And then the way that it's outlined from Parker on down, it fits the person. It's a paint by numbers until you can self-express. But when you can self-express, you're allowed to paint anywhere you want. And that's Kenpo for me.
Nice. And you mentioned that you explore other arts as well, like Aikido and karate and stuff like that. What did that do to you as a person and as a Kenpoist?
What I discovered is that we're all alike in a certain sense. We're all searching. Well, not everybody. Let's just say the majority of us are searching for truth in ourselves. We're looking for that common denominator of life and combat and whatever it is you're approaching. But Aikido and Judo, and I love the arts. I really do. My disdain with it was they taught you to fall first, and I didn't want to fall. So I fought against the teachings of I'm not going to fall. I don't want to fall. I'm going to stand up and do. And so I don't know. I guess I really learned a lot about what I was looking for. Having the other aspects of teachers, though, I learned a lot about people that I loved and hooked me into martial arts forever. The respect, the compassion, the honesty, and the willingness to share and teach and grow other people. And that's just what it is. So.
Nice. Let's see. There we go. Let me just share this. You also have your own approach of Kenpo, and you made a book, right?
I did, yes, sir.
Which is that the one? Is that the cover?
Yeah, 26 moves. Mm-hmm.
Okay. That sounds very interesting. Could you share a little bit of how you got into this 26 moves, what it is, and how you got there to this concept? Because I mean, it's your concept, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Through where do I start? With the NCKKA, the IKKA, and the LTKKA, through all three of those systems, I've probably learned 1,027 different Kenpo techniques. Okay. All little variation changes, some variations A through X, or things like that. But as I approached Master Tatum, we discussed keeping his system. And there's a reason for that. The reason I went to Larry was because he was the encyclopedia. He had it as it was supposed to be, as it will always be. This is what it is. And that I wanted that so much. So he was the guy. And again, I'm blessed that he accepted me as a student. I really am. So as I did that, I started sharing it, of course, and teaching it his way. Loved it. Everything was working out fine. And when I was working with law enforcement first, and I did the SWAT team in Yavapai County. We worked with some of the other law enforcement there, got introduced to some people in the special forces, ended up as a contractor, a special contractor working for people on Coronado Island. and the Yuma Proving Ground. If you're in Arizona, you know what those places are, who lives there. We started working on their self-defense, and I discovered holes in my own ability in a life or death situation. Right. Does that make sense? So in my training and in my understanding of what I was doing physically, especially against multiple attackers with weapons, I mean, things change rapidly. So I started making alterations, and rather than say, okay, well, I'm fixing Kenpo, which I did at 3rd degree and 5th degree when you get the ego and you start, I'm fixing the Kenpo.
Of course.
I didn't do that. I went ahead and adapted what I knew to what they needed. And it's still Kenpo. I mean, there's only 26 moves, right? So it's still Kenpo. I took the idea of the analogies from the letters and the personality types of people. There are 3 basic personality types. The people that can fight to an outcome that's under, let's just say, I don't want to use the word death, but let's just say you fight to an end result. There are people that can do that and be okay with it. There are people that can do it, don't want to do it, but could live with it. And then there are people that would have to do it, could do it, and will never be the same after it happens. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
So you don't teach the same 3 people the same strikes or momentum. Anybody can physically break a rib. Anybody is capable of gouging an eye out. But in your heart, if you're not willing to do it, it's not going to happen when you need it to. So you don't teach people that. You teach them to alter and change things. So like the letter A in our alphabet stands for, in 26 moves, avoid and adjust. The first 2 things in a self-defense situation. You can avoid by who you hang out with, where you live, what you do, what you say. Don't do stupid things with stupid people at stupid places at stupid times, right? You avoid. Right. If the attack is imminent, there are other ways to avoid that attack. And then you adjust. You adjust your mentality. You adjust your positioning. You adjust your resolve. So that's the 26 moves process. There are techniques involved, but of course, they're Kenpo. They're my Kenpo techniques. So that's how that evolved. There's a lot to do with weapons training because in a weapons fight or a fight with any type of weapon, you need to know both ends of the weapon, how to use it and how to take it away.
Sure.
I don't want you to just take it away. So that all got pushed into this special self-defense version of my Kenpo and became 26 moves.
Very nice. Very nice. I like the types of personalities, the type of people. You don't mind if I start sharing that, do you?
No, please do that. Yeah.
I'll give you credit, of course.
Well, and expand it. My job as a teacher, even if they're not directly my student, I want you guys to stand on the shoulders and take anything I say to the next level. Take it, run with it, build it.
I like that. I really do, because what I teach has to do more with I think, 2nd and 3rd personality.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what you find the most with regular civilians.
Absolutely.
People that learn how to defend themselves, but they don't know how to deal with it afterwards.
Yes.
And you need to teach them something more at that level, right? Aligned with that, right?
Yes. Yeah. There are 3 reasons to strike.
Okay.
Position, rebound, or destruction. You don't always have to hit to destroy. You don't always have to hit to move them. You can put like Larry would say, a game of pool. If you miss your shot, you don't leave your opponent with an open shot. So positioning becomes good. And then Kenpo, if you're a Kenpoist, you know what rebounding is. So those are the 3 reasons to strike. So when you're teaching somebody to hit,
nice.
Outside of targeting and reaction or outcome of strike, think about the reasons behind it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Let me bring some of the comments. We have people saying hello here.
Yeah, please.
Maestro Edward Chavez. Hello, Mr. Adkins from Arizona.
How hot is it out there, buddy?
Nice. Juan Rodriguez. Greetings from Laredo, Texas. Nice. Sifu Ernesto Colrenner, salud maestros from Casa de la Cultura, Culture House, Chinese, Santa Fe, Argentina. From Argentina, hug from the heart. Abrazo, maestro. Nice, nice. Johnny Restovic Carmona, salud from Kenpo Vitacura. That's in Chile. Hello.
Chili, right on, Chili.
Ah, see a familiar face here. Maestro Scott James Sadwell. Hello, my friends. Master Adkins, it's a good friend of mine. Nice to see you on here, brother.
Good to see you too, sir.
Oh, thank you, sir. Sensei Axel Cardenas Lizama, salud from Chile.
Another Chili, right on, guys. I'll get out there with Larry one of these days. I promise.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, they're very good Kenpoists down there, and a lot of following. Actually, there's a big Kenpo. It's big down in Chile.
He talks big about it. He really does. So.
Yes, cool. Okay, so you mentioned it that you taught law enforcement and also special forces. How can you expand on that experience? I mean, I've been a law enforcement instructor for a couple of decades now,
right
and I can relate a lot to what you're saying, especially when you start questioning your vision of the art, not the art itself, but the way you perceive the art and the way you handle it, right?
Exactly. Yes.
So
yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that, sir, please?
Yeah, through the special forces experience and the law enforcement experience.
Yeah, both, yeah. I guess. I mean, separate or together.
I'm not sure what area of law enforcement you went into, but if you look back through the expansion of the decades, you or the law enforcement community were allowed at one time to do their job. They were allowed to deal with stupidity the way they needed to.
Right.
Then, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but lawyers or whatever stepped in, and you're limited to what you can do. Now you can only grab and hold, or now you can only use this or that. And we went through that 2 or 3 times throughout the last decades with law enforcement. They weren't able to protect themselves. They couldn't do a closed fist. You remember the whole A-frame, the defensive tactics where you had to use your hands and push and shove and learn to keep your radio up here so you're covered. We went through all of that stuff with them. And what I found was, bless their hearts, the locks and holds that they were teaching were insufficient to maintain control of a situation without striking or without temporarily hurting somebody.
Right.
And you find that, like some other trainings, you get a false sense of accomplishment, which is good. It might win your attitude might win the fight 80% of the time, but there's that other 20% when you need the real skill set. So we did what we could within the confines of the compound, and then several of them would join us outside for a little bit of extra Kenpo.
Nice.
And with the weapons techniques, and I had a lot of law enforcement officers who had to take lives, who would consider themselves, mentally, how do you handle that? How do you deal with that emotionally and spiritually? And they would say, we're warriors for God. It was on us to make sure that person didn't move on and hurt anybody else. Well, that was the same thing when it came to legal aspects of your job. If you had to put somebody in a position where they couldn't hurt anybody else, you needed to be able to stand up and say, I'm a good person. I didn't do that to be mean. It's just the skill set that allowed me to move to that position and take care of it at the time. And that became the evolution of what we were working on. It really did. You have to work within the legalities. The person I left in charge of one, I won't say which SWAT team, recently decided to walk away because the rules got strict again and he couldn't do his job. He could not teach people to protect himself, and he felt bad about it. He left the force.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So bless your heart. Are you still active?
Me teaching?
Are you still active law enforcement?
I'm not right now because of the pandemic and everything. I didn't go back. I'm waiting.
Okay.
Still a little, problematic, but yes, and down here, it's actually, there are more rules than in the States when it comes to applying force, the use of force. So yes, I understand what you're saying. I had to adjust, and it is Kenpo. What I teach is still Kenpo. I mean, there's no other way to me. I mean,
no.
What can I do? Take my Kenpo away, like no Kenpo, and then start teaching? I can't, right?
Yeah. Right.
So yes, I teach Kenpo within the norm and the boundaries of legality, and the way I see it, respects to your friend. I mean,
yes,
I understand his approach and it's good, but the way I see it is, if these are the rules, then we have to play within the rules. We have no choice.
Yeah.
right? So I need to adapt. It's easier for me to adapt than try to bend the rules,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
I think that's
And
why
I
he walked. I
understand
think he was
the other
just,
person approach, and I respect that, but that's the way I see it. So
yeah, I just think 30 years he was done.
no, and I understand, and I think it's pretty valid. Actually, it is, and it can be very frustrating. Yes,
I
but
love the whole take your Kenpo thing off. Have you ever had anybody tell you we could fight if you turn your Kenpo, if you didn't use your Kenpo?
yeah, well, or they ask me, if you fight, would you use your Kenpo? Well, yeah, there's no other way I can fight. I mean,
That's one
that's
of the
the only
biggest
way I
things.
move, right?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things I've learned about martial arts through the years is right away it became everything who I am, every aspect of life, and it's just there's just no separation.
Yep, yeah, agree. You take it to every little corner of your life. It's just there. It's just a part of it. Yes.
Absolutely. So
Yes.
thank you for your service out there in Mexico for as a law enforcement officer too. I think that's
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It's an honor. It's an honor to be able to work with the police here. It is.
absolutely.
Oh yeah. And
So did I answer your question?
yeah. And that within the law enforcement. And what about special forces? What's the difference between? I mean, teaching law enforcement like police officers or special forces. I mean, it's
Good question. Good question. The focus was easier to teach, and these are the three levels that I attributed to from military, law enforcement, and then your basic us, the people on the street,
right.
Your people in the military. They have a defined enemy, and I hate to use that word enemy, but it's the only. So they know the parameters. They know if this person's there and they're doing this, we address that situation.
Right.
So going from situation orange or situation red or situation green, even it's easier for them to adapt, adjust, and mindset becomes straightforward and on target. So that's easier. So when we're training, we're not training with the kung fu escalation principle. Avoid rather than parry, parry rather than block, block rather than strike, strike rather than maim, maim rather than kill. No. We ain't got time for that. We got to go right to self-preservation. That's the military.
Right.
Enforcement kind of have an idea of what they might be getting into, so they have to prepare themselves not only to go forward but to go backwards in their escalation and de-escalation, which is a little bit tougher to do. So we have to approach that, like you said, with an open mind, with an open heart, but you have to be able to adjust to the proper amount of force in a split second and deal with somebody who's shaking your hand saying, hey, I love you, and then trying to stab you in the next second. So that makes it a little tougher for law enforcement. But the Kenpo, you learn to adjust, avoid, and put yourself in positions. We talked about how you see me, I'm Italian here. I talk with my hands a lot because it keeps people away from me. It's law enforcement. And then us in the street, the bad guy gets to pick the time and the location when they want to attack you. And you may never know. And me, I'm a trusting, loving, unsuspecting individual. I love everybody and expect everybody to be the best person they can be, which means I can be taken advantage of for a second or two. A second or two. I'd rather live that way than be a cynic and not trust anybody, right?
Right. I agree. Yeah.
So those are the three ways you have to adjust your Kenpo training on how to prepare yourself to respond with appropriate action or reaction.
Very nice. Yeah.
That's part of the 26 moves.
I don't have an experience. I couldn't say I have an experience teaching the military. I understand the approach, and I like it. I mean, the difference, right? I mean, it's the scenario. It's completely different. And the approach changes a lot. And I like the three steps I do see. You have the civilians, then you have the law enforcement, and then you have the military in the three different levels. Great. Love it. Okay, we have some more people saying hello here. Let's say Rick Green from Yorktown, Indiana. Salute, Frank. Salute, sir. Okay, Mr. Sadwell says, good explanation between police versus special forces training. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Yeah, agree. So you still teach the original Kenpo or American Kenpo, the 24 techniques and stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. And what's the value that you see there versus the value of what you teach with 26 moves?
So the value in 26 moves gets right to the point. and I'll give you an example, then we'll go to Larry's system. One of the last months I was teaching some of the younger candidates on Coronado Island. They're very much into jujitsu now, right? They want to wrestle. And so the example there would be, okay, for 26 moves, I don't do wrestling. I'm not knocking it. I don't do that stuff. And so I told one of the boys, he's like, I can take you down. I was like, okay, go ahead. Okay, in full flak, right? He's prepared to. So he takes me down. I pull a secondary weapon out of his boot and stick it in his ribs. Like, now what? Well, I could have taken my knife and put it away. Okay, do that. So I walked over to the sergeant and said, when he gets me down, kick him in the head. And I said it quietly. So he wrestles me. I let him get me down. I just lay in there. Sarge comes over and boots him right in the head. I was like, we don't wrestle in live action combat. You may get in a scuffle and you want to know how to counter, but you want to be aware of the weapons you have. You don't go, can I lock him up? Can I tap him out? No, I'm going to get an advantageous position, pull my knife, and stick it in his ribs. So that's 26 moves. Okay. Kenpo, the incredible value of being able to take time in the dojo and walk through a technique. The techniques are simple, and I don't want to devalue them. They are methods of conversation. Yes. When we move and we teach somebody, okay, this is an unexpected attack because it's a punch, you're not sure of the timing. This is a grab, so it's more of a controlled attack. This is what we can do against a grab. These are the aggressiveness of the time zones. They're attacking from 1:30 to attacking here. What that does is it sets for me a conversation with the person on how they feel about it, what they're actually capable of doing, and the theories and concepts just explode from there. As soon as the first question's asked, we got a lesson. And that's what I love about Kenpo. And I can do that with any technique. I was known for a little while, people used to get pissed at me because I love to push buttons. And I would say, I can show you where 80% of these techniques don't work.
Right.
And that pissed everybody off. Oh, my Kenpo works, my Kenpo. And at the same time, I can turn around and show you how all 80% of those absolutely work. What I'm doing is trying to get people to evaluate what they think they know, what they're doing. And it wasn't a challenge to say they suck. It was make it happen. Let's see it work for you.
Of course.
But people misunderstood it, and here I am.
Yeah, I've done the same. Yeah, and I had the same outcome. Yeah, people misunderstand, but still, if the purpose behind it, it's correct, honorable, then it's a good thing because some people will get it and they will benefit from it, right?
Yeah, you get those for sure, and I'm very grateful for those. So I love the system, sticking with it. I create it to paint by numbers, and you heard me say that. When a student walks on the floor and they're really looking for self-defense or self-discovery or the art or the science of Kenpo, Parker and Larry, who have perpetuated the ideas, have set forth a system of paint by numbers. This is what color goes there. Follow me, and this is what result you can have.
Right. As
you grow, we take away the numbers and even change the colors and allow the student to paint and experiment in the what-if phase. What if this, and they develop that for themselves. And then the ultimate goal of every black belt, self-expression. Self-expression through Kenpo. You've probably heard this question from all your students. How am I going to know in a street fight which technique to use? It doesn't happen that way.
No.
And I give you good examples of that. I used to learn my techniques at Orange Belt, and I'd go to school, and knowing that there was probably going to be a fight and not talk my way out of it and stand there and wait for that punch and get punched with the other hand instead. I got a great story where I learned bear hugs or pin and back crushing hammer, right?
Right.
Hammer. And I go to school thinking, okay, I'm going to use this technique and see if it works. Well, what's it against? It's against a grab from behind, right?
Right.
So I don't talk myself out of a fight. Sorry. And I turn my back to the person. I'm trying to get him to, I must have looked like a nut. And he punched me in the back of the head.
Of course.
I did bear hug anyway. I did crushing hammer without him grabbing me, and it worked. Hit him in a groin, step behind him, took him down. I was like, holy crap, he didn't even need to grab me. The Kenpo technique worked regardless.
Yes.
Huge lesson.
Yeah, cool.
And probably funny as hell to watch.
Wow. I like it. Yeah. Okay. And the other question I had.
Yeah.
So you teach both systems.
Which system? Which ones? Which both? What are you talking about?
The LTKKA Kenpo, the 24 techniques, the Parker's American Kenpo, LTKKA,
Yes.
all that,
Mhm.
and the 26 moves, right?
Yes and no. Yes and no. But go ahead with your question.
I was going to ask, which one do you think do you teach the most, or which one of them are more popular, and why?
My higher ranks, any black belt and above, have moved to, and they get to choose whatever they want. They can do kung fu, they can do ninja, they can do 26 moves.
You also have other styles.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and I have separate classes for them. I teach, a ninja class.
Nice.
I teach, and if you're learning Kenpo from me, you're going to learn some ninja footwork and some weapons and some kung fu ideas. And if you're studying kung fu, you're absolutely going to get Kenpo. I can't not, But I would say I teach more of the LTKKA. It's consistent. That's my Kenpo. That's my Kenpo class. You come in from day one, we're working the program. We're working the DNA. We're growing it. 26 moves is more my gift back to the martial arts world. And the way I set it up is this. It's not a series of techniques, because the techniques would be Kenpo. It's a series of ideas. So let's say you do Taekwondo and you want to enhance the self-defense aspects of your art. You take 26 moves and you put it on top of what you already know. Just the words and the ideas. Avoid and adjust. What does that mean to you? Block or bridge. Be faster or first. These are things in your ideas of your self-defense that you can accentuate what you already know. That's my 26 moves.
Nice.
Yeah, so
nice.
any art can put it on her. But absolutely teach the LTKKA. That's what I do.
Okay, and you now that you mentioned, I was going to ask another question. What are the similarities that you found when you were already a Kenpoist and you went to the Shaolin Temple to study Kung Fu and all that? What did you find similarities?
Yes.
Did you find? Yes. And what were those?
Yeah. My real purpose for going back to Shaolin, other than the, oh my God, I get to go to Shaolin, was Kenpo comes from that. Kenpo, Chuan Fa, is actually Nanchuan, which is hard style, tiger style, Nanchuan. So when I went back to Temple, they're watching me do raking mace as a demonstration. I use it as a demonstration. I can hit somebody 23 times in 1 second. So I'm doing that at the Shaolin Temple, and they're looking at me going, Nantran. So they start talking about tiger system and showing me their self-defense through and it's like, that's Kenpo. That's my Kenpo. So the similarities were very much relevant. We are a little more straight to the point, and our perpetuation of Kenpo now has driven it to the point to where it's kind of a no nonsense, no frills. This is absolutely how it's going to work. As to where the Shaolin still had some of the really flowery, deep stance, movements, but it was there. It was absolutely there, and I loved blowing them away. I loved their eyes when I would do something.
Nice. So you think, what would you say the origin of Kenpo is? Is it more Chinese or Japanese?
That's a good question. Matosi, I did some research, and it may be limited research, but James Matosi's family art was unarmed samurai and I believe Chuan Fa, jujitsu back then. And it was from China to the mainlands to Matosi, if I believe. And you'll have to excuse me, I had cancer 5 years ago and I lost some of my memory. But I would say that the origins that I followed through the NCKKA, the National Chinese Kenpo Karate Association, I would say more Chinese at the moment. And then you look at Mr. Parker's evolution, and I would say Mr. Parker wasn't really a Chinese-directed type of martial artist. He wasn't very soft. He was more direct, which would be more of a Japanese Okinawan harder system. But I would argue that his hard style was not as rigid or limited as the traditional Japanese or Okinawan sets. I think he's got a little bit more fluidity in his thought process and his movement that way, like Chinese. What about you? What do you think?
Good question. I think definitely Japanese.
Yeah. Interesting.
With Chinese dressing on top of it.
There you go. Gotcha.
Spice. Yes, of course. Definitely.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So I think different paths, really. But
Was that
different paths? Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's all valid. I mean, I do see the influence of both.
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely. I think it's American. Well, Mexican.
Yes, Latino. Right.
Yes,
Now, I think right now it's a gift to whomever wants to learn it,
Absolutely.
and it will benefit the individual. It doesn't matter which cultural background or nationality or language you speak. I mean, you will learn the language of motion, and I think it will definitely benefit you, whether you're a man, a woman, Latino, American, whatever. I think it's an amazing tool, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Kenpo's it. Yeah. And again, when I say that, I'm not knocking any other art. It's just Kenpo's it for me. It really is.
Nice. Okay, we have David Guillaume. Hola, maestro. Says Professor Chow told me he learned from his father and his uncle who were Shaolin priests.
Matobu.
Yes, I agree with that. I think Chow learned from his father and uncle. And I don't know, Mr. Guillaume, if you know, but the one who was a master or Sifu bigger than those were Chow grandfather. Okay, I'll just drop that. And also Chow was a student of mitosis. So you see, and on the other side, Chow didn't call his art Chuan Fa. He called it Kenpo Karate. That's a Japanese name right there. Even though later on he changed it to Karaho Kenpo. But still, I think, thank you, Mr. Guillaume. And my friend, you better be on the show. I'm going to interview you. Okay. So cool. Thank you. Okay. So, what is your angle when you teach? Is it more the art? Because I saw that on your crest. You mentioned the art, the science, and the self-defense. Mm-hmm. How do you combine those, or do you separate those? How do you do that?
Good question. My teachings have slowed. 90% of my students now, and for the last 15 years, have been adults. I do have some kid students, but mainly privates, mainly adults. I love doing seminars and going out and answering questions. So what I do in my private lessons, it takes about 12 weeks to really get to know what a student is looking for, get that connection. It's important to me to really find out what they want. Everybody comes in the door and what do they want? Self-defense. What are you here for? Self-defense. What are you here for? Self-defense. Well, sometimes that's true. Sometimes it's not. You get a personality type that likes the movement and they think they want to do Kung Fu. Well, I do Kenpo Kung Fu because they're all going to want that self-defense. So I really tailor it to the person's needs. That being said, like you said, you can't turn your Kenpo off. So you start a conversation about a technique, and that technique is more scientific in its approach. They're getting the science of overlapping orbits and collapsing circles and universal pattern. If it's more of an expressive idea in motion, they're going to get more of the art. And then if they really want the self-defense, we pressure test it. And I show them how to alter and change certain things. And then we look at the targeting systems. So I hope that answered your question.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's nice. That's so cool. Yeah. So how do you manage to I also saw on your website that you have let me put it up.
Because,
that you have some coaching approach there. I like that too.
Life coaching.
Let's see. It's right there. So you have the Adkins results coaching, right?
Yes.
Mastering your life.
Yeah.
And I think you have 12 weeks results. I remember that because you just mentioned the 12 weeks. So now it makes more sense. Yeah. So what is this about, sir? Can you talk a little bit about it?
In my life, I've had a couple of different careers. I paid for college as a rock star and became a financial consultant through Merrill Lynch to afford my habits through martial arts. And when I was a broker, a financial consultant through Merrill Lynch, yeah, that's me singing Ronnie James Dio stuff. I met a gentleman named Tony Robbins, and Tony Robbins became my coach, and
Wow.
I guarantee that as an instructor, you change people's lives just like anybody else does. And
Yes.
I found the correlation between what we do on the mats personally and what he was doing internationally exactly the same. So I
Tony
became a
Robbins is the
certified
man.
coach.
I
Yeah, I
like
became a
his work.
certified coach through Tony Robbins' Institute, and
Wow.
use those tools every day to change people's lives, and kind of just, you sneak that into the kids' class, or you sneak it into somebody's lesson, and they walk out and their mind's blown, and they come back 10 years later and say, you know what, you changed my life on that day. It's like, that's why we do what we do. So I've been doing that forever, and I keep doing it. That's what I do.
Wow.
Yeah,
I really like that. I mean, I like Tony Robbins' material a lot, and
yes.
I believe he's one of the top coaches out there. I mean, he's the man, right?
Yes, and I'll bet you use his tools, don't you?
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah,
There you
yeah.
go.
I like coaching. Yes,
Yeah.
of course. I mean, we are in a way. I mean, we are martial arts coaches, but we're also life coaches. Definitely.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. Actually, on Saturday we're going to have a guest here who is a life coach under Team Maxwell.
Is that Mr. Kelly?
Yes. Yeah. Well, Jocelyn Gonzalez is going to be on the show.
Oh, okay. Mr. Kelly, I think, works for the same group.
Yeah. She's part of that group. Actually, she was.
No, Sean Kelly.
Right. Sean
Yeah,
Kelly.
Yeah. Oh, the lady, you're going to have a lady on there that's.
Jocelyn. Yes.
Yeah. That's what we do. That's who we are,
She was
those pictures of the rock stars
by Mr. Kelly, actually.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to listen to the music you showed the pictures from?
No. Did not. Actually, I did a little bit of your journey.
The Journey tribute.
Yeah, I heard a couple. You have a great voice, man. Yes, I did last week. Yes.
It's the nose.
There you go. No,
I love
singing. Journey, so yes, of course.
Good. Yeah.
Cool.
So I got a challenge before we get off of here. I don't know how much time we have. I'll talk as long as you want. But I don't know if you heard me say I set a record. I hit somebody 23 times in 1 second.
I heard that. Yes.
Yeah. I used the technique raking mace.
Okay.
Well, 200 grab, pull, strike. There are actually 36 potential strikes possible in those 4 moves.
Okay.
I challenged somebody to beat me.
Wow.
That's how it started. Larry had hit somebody 16 times in a second, and I saw it and went, and he goes, beat it. I'm like, okay. So I started working. I got 17, and then he did 18. It's like, argh. So I actually went on America's Got Talent. Don't know why they called me, and I hit somebody 23 times in 1 second. So I challenge you guys to beat it.
I've done 20.
20, right on. So you're getting close. Come on.
Yeah, well, I stopped that a little while ago, but yeah, I might go back to it. But yes, I used to do that because of Larry, actually. Yes,
exactly. He just brings it out in you. Did you ever get this question? How is it possible to hit somebody that many times?
Minor and major moves.
That's right. And my favorite answer: the targets were available.
Sure.
Without the targets, you can't hit them. So,
of course,
absolutely.
Yeah. Actually, what I used was the what Larry calls the hand sword set.
Say it again.
The hand sword set, where you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, pop,
yes.
Right? And right. That's the one I really loved back in the day. Yes.
Good deal. Kenpo, awesome stuff.
Well, yeah, and like you said, Mr. Tatum, he's the man when it comes to. I mean, he's a walking encyclopedia of the art.
Yes.
And I'm not taking anything away from any other seniors. I mean, they're all good, right? But that was my teacher, so of course.
Yeah, me too. I met Larry the first time at Long Beach Internationals, and I can't remember the year, but he sat on the kata board for the tournament, and I went up to do the 8. From NCKKA, the 56 techniques, the 8 from the Chinese Kenpo system. And I had practiced it. I had it down perfect. And I get up there and I'm looking at Larry, Kung Fu magazine, black belt, man. And I started the first move and froze.
Oh.
And I went, oh, and I said, may I start over? And he walked up to me and he goes, no. And he shook my hand. He goes, "What happened?" I said, "I just lost it, sir." And that was my first time personally meeting Mr. Tatum. And it was a great introduction.
Wow, that was in the 80s, I guess, right?
Yeah, it was a long time ago. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, let's see. We have a question here.
Sure.
Rick Boy says, Sifu, can you explain your 24 strikes in 1 second? And also, can you talk about your teaching of Chin Na? Ah, nice. Season control. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. My video series that I've got coming out right now for the Kenpo people it's called Kenpo Chin Na. And from Shaolin, Chin Na is a lot like jujitsu, but it's the art of seizing, stealing, ripping, tearing, and breaking bones, joints, ligaments, airflow, and blood flow. Okay? There's Chin Na in the Kenpo system.
Sure.
If you look at crossing talons,
right,
and the locks there, there are rudimentary and basic ways to do that technique, and then there are advanced ways to apply Chin Na. So what I'm doing in my videos, I'm actually taking people through the Shaolin Chin Na and showing, when you roll the wrist, you can roll 3 joints and control the actual hip rotation by doing it a little differently this way. When you're doing Japanese hand or whatever you guys call this one in your system, there's small joint manipulation, there's larger joint manipulation, and then there's a way to completely control the whole body. So it's already in Kenpo. It's already there. But when you explore it in a depth from a different perspective, like the Shaolin, you guys are going to get a kick out of it, man. The Chin Na is just, it explodes the techniques into a whole new dimension. I hope that's what you get out of it anyway. And Mr. Boyce, you felt a couple of them, right?
And can you explain your 24 strikes in 1 second?
We talked about it. The targets are there. So in the first, and there's a difference between moves and strikes. Everybody knows that. A move can have more than one strike. A strike is basically one attack, one section. So 3 weapons, 3 points of contact on a circle. And when I'm grabbed with 2 hands, I have every target available to me. So as I move to the first strike, and without a partner here, you can go look at it. There are 9 strikes in the first move. And if you look at some of the videos I've done, you'll see, the forearm striking the elbow striking the wrist, then the eye shot, then coming back down on the arm, striking to the radial nerve on this side, hyperextending the elbow on this side, striking the sternum, adjusting the steps. So you kick the shin and stomp on the instep all in one motion. So there are 9 potential strikes in one move. Multiply that by 4 moves, and you got what you got. There it is.
Rick says, yes, I have. Love it.
Danny Arnold, he said he saw me on America's Got Talent. Thank you, sir. Yeah, Howard Stern, it was an interesting experience. If you watch the show, what people don't know about that, backstage, and I won't say a lot about this because I've got another show I'm supposed to go on here pretty soon and do some but we won't talk about that. Backstage, the producers wanted me to be a jerk. They kept asking me to say things in the camera like, yeah, I'm going to get them, and I'm like, you guys don't really know who I am. They wanted me to change my nickname. They wanted me to tell stories that weren't true. By the time I got on stage, I was so just distraught with this is nonsense that I was heartbroken. And my daughter's sitting in the audience, and she said, before I even moved, a sign came on that said, boo. And they were booing before I even moved. You can't hear that on the show on TV. And I was like, what is happening here? And then I got 2, I got an X from Sharon. She didn't like violence. And Howard Stern. Howie, on the other hand, Howie was pretty clear focused. He knew that I had been set up, and you could tell that there was compassion. He didn't understand what was happening. Howard went on his radio show the next day and said I was his favorite act. It's like, it was weird. I don't know why they had me. My act is over in a second.
I saw it.
Yeah.
I remember, yes. And I remember Howard Stern being really bad. I was pissed because I'm a Kenpo guy. So
yeah. Yeah. And when he stood up, I don't know if they showed this on the show. He stood up, he says, I know karate. And he did he got a brown belt in Shotokan. He did a couple punches or something. I felt bad for him. He was about this big around. And I just felt bad. I felt really bad. What I should have done is started singing. I should have just started singing, but whatever. Nice. Thank you very much. It was a good experience. So it was fun to learn stuff.
Yeah, but people don't realize what goes on TV shows. I mean, I've had my share. I've been on TV shows many times, and I understand what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was brokenhearted. It really was.
Yeah, people don't see what goes behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, but still, it's cool. It's an experience, right?
Yeah.
Jameson Wimmer says, Osso Sifu Adkins.
Uso.
Uso. Yeah, nice. Rick says, can you discuss your definition of rebound?
Yes, and Mr. Boyce loves rebound. He loves 5 swords and he loves rebounding. So 3-dimensional rebounding. Everybody in Kenpo kind of knows what a rebound is, correct? Where you rebound off yourself. Okay. I am a nut, and if you talk to Larry, he'll tell you I am the guy who likes to go down the rabbit hole. I'll just go as far, and he'll even stop me. And go, oh, you need to back up, buddy, and remind. But I've taken rebounding to 6 dimensions.
Wow.
I know, hang in there. 3-dimensional rebounding. We've got 1-dimensional in height. We got 3-dimensional in height, width, and depth.
Right.
Rebounding to me is a reference point in 3-dimensional space from which to accelerate, originate, or repeat a motion.
Okay.
So basically, anywhere if they punch and you use the arm as a rebound, you have 1-dimensional and 2-dimensional rebounding. The Kenpo stomp, when people stomp and use that as an acceleration tool for a motion, that's 3-dimensional. You neither have to have a physical reference point, you just have a reference point in 3-dimensional space from which to move from. And that's rebounding.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. It's easier to show, Mr. Boyce. You and I will make a video. I'll hit you and we'll send it to him. We'll see.
Yes, please do that. Yes. Yeah, we're gonna have to interview you again with Mr. Boyce there, so you can show everything. Now he's in trouble.
He's fun to hit. He runs away quite a bit, but he's a fun person. He loves it.
Oh no, thank you, Mr. Boyce, for the questions. I appreciate that. I appreciate the help, by the way. Yeah, he said yes. So there you go. He's committed now. Cool.
Always up for it.
Nice. Well, sir, we are running out of time. We have a couple of minutes left. So before we go, I want to ask 2 things. First, if people want to get in touch with you, seminars, you're available for seminars and stuff like that. Where can they reach you? Social media and stuff like that. And after that, what would you like to say, some goodbye words or whatever? What's the final message you have?
So to answer the first question, yes, I'm available for seminars. I'll follow Larry anywhere he goes. If you want to bring me out specifically, you can do that. Reach me on 26moves.com, which is 26moves.com. Yep. You can find me on Facebook. I'm all over the place. Reach me on a private message or call my phone number. I'll answer the phone. We can talk. I love to teach. And now that the pandemic stuff is over, I'll be getting out to Arizona doing stuff with Nancy Bozick and her class. My brother, Paul Adkins, is in Arizona. Be going out and teaching with his school. Ending statement here. I would love, what's a good thing to say? Yeah. In the Kenpo world, you guys have the best of the best. And in any martial art, let's just say you're not even Kenpo and you're watching this program, which is a fantastic program, Mr. Soto. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to meet you, first and foremost.
Thank you.
You and I are going to get together.
Yes, definitely.
In the martial arts world, if you and Mr. Soto said this earlier, and excuse me if I'm mispronouncing your name, he said if you would just listen and open your mind, you could learn so much, and that's what he says he does on this program. That's what I do my whole life. I'm a talker, but I listen a lot. And as a coach, it's important. And as anybody who wants to learn anything, it's important to not close your mind right away to an idea. Even if you disagree with the immediate reaction of thought, allow it to sit for a day or two. Learn it, apply it, then teach it or share it, and have somebody ask you questions before you decide it's not perfect for you. And you love each other.
Wow.
That's it, man.
Thank you so much. We have a couple of comments left. Let's see. Rick says, absolutely, Frank, you're awesome, my friend. Thank you. It's an honor. Thank you, sir. You are awesome. Thank you. Let's see. Jorge Sanchez, salud, Frank, and Viva Kenpo! Viva, yes. Nice, I like it. Edward Chavez says, thank you for sharing, sir. Thank you, sir. Mr. Chavez is on our list. I will call you soon, sir, as soon as I get a spot for you to be on the show, if you want, of course. Okay, well, thank you so much, sir. I really, really learned a lot today. I usually do from all my guests. I mean, it's an honor. And like you just said, if you take the time to listen to people, you will learn something. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Some valuable lessons. I like the three types of personality. I think that's amazing. And the way you handle, the way you teach, the DNA of the art, I think that's very important. And your own version, finding your own, I call it the martial unique expression. It's something so cool to see and to witness from a seasoned martial artist, somebody who's been, doing the art like you have for many years. And thank you for sharing that. It's really, really an honor, sir.
You're welcome. Like I said, it was great to meet you. This was incredible. Thank you so much.
Seabrook Martial Arts, great stuff, James, and salute from Canada. Nice. Jerry Lozano, great chat. Gracias, mi hermano. Saludos. Rick says, I do have to seafood. Adkins has changed my life so much.
Okay, Mr. Boyce, we love you. You can stop it now.
Vladimir da Silva Javier, saludos from Brazil, maestros. Obrigado, saludos. Well, thank you so much, sir. This was amazing. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your wisdom. You're the man, sir. Thank you.
I think the same about you, buddy. I really do. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you, sir. Jamison Wimmer, Mr. Soto. Jameson, how do you say that?
Jameson Weimer.
Yeah, thank you. See, I'm so bad with the names. I'm sorry, Jameson Weimer. Mr. Soto, thank you, sir, for hosting my teacher, Sifo Adkins, on show. That's why you know how to say it. On your show. Thank you. Sorry for mentioning your name. Sorry. Jorge Sanchez, thank you both. Thank you, sir. Scott, good seeing you guys. Salute. Well, thank you, everybody. Take care. See you next week with more coffee and martial arts. Thank you, sir.
Buddy. Take care.
It was an honor. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.